What's up, Tofus? There's a lot happening, and I want to do a quick rundown with what's happening in the past week before getting into some farming opportunities with DEXs. First, if you didn't know, the 10-year yield is now above pre-pandemic levels and is used basically as a proxy for mortgage rates and the sentiment about the economy. Essentially, the government has to pay higher interest rates to attract more buyers, but with that said, I'll make another video. And Fed Day happened on Wednesday, so they ended up raising interest rates by a quarter point, which was the first increase we've seen since 2018. If the Fed raises interest rates by 25 basis points for the next 7 quarters, we'll see close to 2%, but everything is up in the air right now to combat inflation. We're going to be seeing a volatile market due to this and other factors from what's going on in the world, like what's happening in Russia and the Ukraine, plus what the Kremlin is saying. And there were rumors earlier that there was peace talks happening, but Ukraine pretty much denied all of that. Since the Fed started raising rates, they'll start the balance sheet reductions. This is when the Fed starts tightening monetary policy and addressing the balance sheet from the bloated 6 to 7 trillion elephant in the room. The Fed said that they are on top of inflation, but we know we can just take their word for a grain of salt. And now that they've raised rates by a quarter point, what this means is we're going to be seeing one rate hike most likely during each one of these meetings moving forward. We may need to brace ourselves for a double rate hike during one of them. The Fed's new dot plot is matching up with the market. Right now, the inflation expectations for this year is going to be about 4.6%, which was below 3% last time. There were worries about beginning of the year talks about tapering before all the Russia-Ukraine drama, and the market was already pricing in more hikes than what the Fed was. So that's why we had a huge decline from January to this last Wednesday when Fed announced the 25 basis point hike. And that's why there's been a slightly recovery from the market dip from what we've seen in the last 2 days. Powell said he didn't see a recession in their term or a balance sheet reduction, but we expect to see him talk about that during the next meeting in May. If you go to the Fed rate monitor, what this is showing you is the odds of a double rate hike is sitting at about 43.9% as I'm recording this video. This is what you need to pay really close attention to, because if the percentage goes higher and the higher it goes up, the more likely a double rate hike is going to happen. As long as this number stays above 60% in May, then you can expect one. But if it stays below it, there won't be a double rate hike. If the market starts pricing in 0.75, then we could see a more bullish sentiment. But the market may overact if this percentage goes up, like what we saw in the beginning of the year through pretty much the middle of this week. We are experiencing unprecedented inflation, the dollar is getting weaker, and a power shift from the west to the east. The Fed is saying the money printing is not the cause of inflation, which in my opinion is very BS. They're just lying to us to make us feel a little bit better, while we see gold and Bitcoin holding its value or even going higher. The monetary system is broken, but the Fed still won't say it. I don't think they'll ever admit that, because then it would just show weakness in their decisions. Gold and Bitcoin, on another note, have intrinsic value. There's only a set amount in the world, while the dollar keeps getting printed and inflated. But that's also for another video that I'll be making. Inflation will not go away. Don't expect it to lower anytime soon and in the upcoming years. But keep in mind what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. It was just more of an accelerant with what was happening and possibly a thing to point the finger to. But it did accelerate everything that was going on and the conditions from what was happening. There needs to be major changes to the world reserve currency, which other people can talk about. I'm not going to get into that because our paper dollar is depreciating in value, and deflationary assets like gold and Bitcoin is a bet against the paper dollar being worthless. There's a lot happening in the Cardano ecosystem with tons of DEXs launching. I'm going to go over a yield farming opportunity to gain some juicy yield farming returns. One of the DEXs that launched recently was Minswap, and on their Twitter, they announced that yield farming is live on their website on March 16th. There's risk from impermanent loss if the coins drastically change in price. So once you remove your liquidity from the pool, you may receive less of one token versus the other. So if you're not comfortable losing ADA and you want to hold for long term, this may not be an opportunity for you. To start yield farming, you'll need a compatible wallet to connect to the website and connect to the app. I use CC Vault. You'll head over to the pool section and you'll choose the pool that you want to stake to, or provide liquidity to. So in this case, I'm going to look at the ADA min pool. There are a lot of farms to choose from, and depending on the supply and the rates will lower. But right now, with 160% return or even upwards of 200, farming opportunity that you can't pass up, you'll be earning more than standard staking. So what you'll need to do is provide liquidity in one of these pools or add liquidity and enter in the amount of ADA and min, and you'll receive an LP token, and then head over to the farms area and choose that corresponding farm to stake your LP token to. So in this case, ADA min is returning about 160% APR. If you look at other pools, there's a lot to choose from. You can see there's some returning over 200% here on the bottom. I would recommend not putting in all your money if you don't understand how to yield farm, and just play around with it with some small amounts so that you get comfortable doing this. That's it for the week. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and like the video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Peace.